I think I'll let the one of the grads answer that one. So maybe I don't know. Let's take a pick.
Helen, let's ask Helen.
Let's say Emily.
Oh,
all right, Helen.
Whoever, one of the two of you.
Yeah.
Helen, you're probably better. You're with all the grads. I was on my own.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from my experience and say that I got a lot of benefit out of the support networks. The grad kind of community itself is really supportive, really encouraging of everyone, and especially from that first week where we have the induction, we really get to know everyone and have plenty of connections throughout the whole program. So you're never on your own. You've always got someone around to ask questions. And the buddy network as well was really helpful starting out. You can ask your buddy kind of anything that you might be wondering or anything that's on your mind that you might be curious about. And then of course there's the senior leader mentoring as well that you get in the second year of the grad program. So I know my mentor is also joining us today, Heidi, and I've gained so much from our mentor sessions. All the senior leaders here have such a wealth of knowledge, so we really get such a benefit from hearing what they've got to share and really learning from as much as we can, really. So yeah, it's been great.
Thanks, Helen. Thank you. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, and Paul, further to that, I think it's not just the buddies. So you've got a great network around you. So you've got your graduate managers who are always there for you, your rotation managers. So our business is are huge advocates of the program, really understand how it works. So they're incredibly supportive of our graduates when they are on the program, and that echoes throughout the whole organisation. You know, there's an alumni group that we've got the graduate committee as well. So there's a number of networks and touch points that you have throughout the program.
Yeah, I was really impressed when I was reading the graduate program outline, and that was really cool with how much training and buddying you actually are providing. So it's really great to hear. Thank you for answering my question.
No worries. Thanks, Paul.
Hi everybody, thanks for coming today. So the COVID pandemic, I think, has caught all of us by surprise and has probably changed your education experience this year just a little bit. It has also changed some of the ways we work, but most excitingly, if you've been following the news, CSL and Securus have partnered with the University of Queensland to develop a vaccine. And as part of that partnership, we will be assisting with the development of the vaccine and working on clinical trials, and if all goes successful, bringing doses to Australia and beyond. And what I'd just like to share is that there are two graduates in my department who joined us in 2019 as part of Helen's class, and they are both actively involved in helping to assist with the design of the manufacturing process for the clinical trial material. So really some very exciting projects, hands-on, interesting, I think some of the most meaningful work you could be asked to do right now with the skill sets in STEM fields. And so does that answer the question?
I reckon Isaac or Liam are probably good ones to potentially answer this.
Yep, I think I might be most appropriate. So when I applied, I'd done both a science degree and an engineering degree, and the only streams open at the time were quality, manufacturing, and engineering. I just completed the engineering degree, so I applied for engineering. I ended up interviewing for manufacturing and was hired into quality. And so I think I kind of had the prerequisites for each case, but I think regardless of where I was placed, there was enough to learn on top of the degree. I find the degree constitutes maybe 10% of the requirements of the job. The rest is learnt during the graduate program. So I think wherever I was placed, I would have had just as much difficulty getting up to speed.
Yeah, oh, thanks. That's reassuring. Thank you.
All good.
Thanks, Isaac.
So what happens is our charity partner Red Kite, so they help kids and their families who are going through cancer. And the objective of that innovation challenge is to come up with an idea where they can raise funds and awareness for that particular charity partner. They go through about 3 days of formalized training around entrepreneurship, ideation, and so forth. And then they have to come up with a business plan that they have to pitch to our senior leaders in order to secure seed funding to actually proceed with that program. And then they actually get to run it over that 10-week, or I think it's about 9 weeks post their training. So as part of that, that's something that I think is really, I think, positive, that they can get to give back and really make it their own. And I don't know if one of the grads who's currently on the program, he got a chance to do that or is doing that currently, can potentially add to that. Maybe Helen, I'm thinking.
Do you mind if I jump in, actually? I might just,
Okay,
I'll say our current idea that we're working on, we're selling kites for Red Kite. Maybe others can give a one-sentence explanation of what their fundraising ideas were.
I'm also in Sam's year of the graduate program, and our graduate cohort's been split into 2 teams. So I'm on the other team, and our team's running a Kilometres for Kids initiative, which is based around kind of a month-long fitness challenge where participants can get involved in all kinds of running or walking or other activities. And so at the end of that, they come back and present back to our leadership team on how their event or idea went. And yeah, we have a little bit of a celebration. Normally we'd go somewhere, but we're not able to do that this year. So yeah, it's a really a great way to sort of connect back to the community and give back. And it's also a good opportunity for the grads to put something their name against as well.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
I'd say it's fairly relaxed. You're part of one big family, one big team, and you're all there to basically, you have one mission, that is to get a quality product in a bottle out so your patients get it. So I'd say it's fairly driven, but also quite a big family that you're part of, and fairly relaxed because of that.
All right, thank you for that. And for quality?
I can also speak from a quality perspective and say that it's an incredibly collaborative culture. I know quality has the, I guess, benefit of reaching its arms across many different areas of the business, whether it's contributing to areas of manufacturing or to engineering or regulatory affairs. Quality really has that kind of holistic view of things. So what comes with that is a lot of collaboration, which has been really positive, especially as somebody new starting out. Everyone's willing to contribute and help, which is really good.
All right, thanks, Liam and Helen. Thank you, guys.
I just wanted to jump in, off the back of what Liam was saying, and just mention that actually that culture is across the entire business, that mission to get a quality product out the door to the people who really need it. Yeah, that's something that's constant throughout the business, not just in manufacturing and quality areas.
Yeah, I agree with you, Samantha, because I think culture in the small streams will affect the whole community in CSL. Thanks again, guys, for your time. Thank you.
Yeah, so I have had the chance to work on a few different projects. I would say the most challenging one, which will probably be quite relevant for whoever ends up in the corporate role, is a process, bringing in a new process in CSL, which changed how we ran projects. And I think the main challenges came from being such a large company with manufacturing sites in different countries, each of those countries doing things a little bit differently, just learning how to bring all of that together and, interact with all of these people from different cultures to bring that change in at a company-wide level was really difficult, but taught me a lot of useful skills as well about managing that kind of work and being able to work with all these different groups to find a solution that everyone is happy with. So that was a very large chunk of my graduate experience.
Isaac, or shall I go?
Maybe I'll go first. So I'll talk to one project in during the graduate program. Early on, when I'd moved into Claire's team, I'd been developing dashboards and similar statistics-oriented summary programs, and I had the chance to be brought over to Bern to work on a collaborative project with the team there. And so in the span of a month, I had to learn the new team and then work out the requirements, mostly lead the project, and then get to some solution that's been up since then. So that was quite a significant part of the program. And then I've used those skills developed then for the rest of my time at CSL, particularly the getting to know people in another location.
Yeah, I'd find the biggest challenge was just the first few months. I think coming from an engineering background, you don't learn much, or chem eng, you don't learn what manufacturing is that much, and you also don't learn what quality is. So I think the learning curve initially was very challenging, but really, really enjoyable, and you can really see yourself grow in that first 6 months to a year. And what did I learn from it? I guess to ask questions continuously. And that's something that's always very possible at CSL. You're allowed to ask as many questions as you want. So that would be my learning from it.
So the work-life balance is really good. So you're kind of expected just to do your hours. So everyone obviously has set hours per day and you're just expected to do that. Obviously, if things come up, like I work in engineering, so sometimes we have breakdowns at like 4:30 in the afternoon, like, so sometimes we do have to stay back later. And there are obviously facility shutdowns as well, so sometimes you're working really long hours and weekends then, but for the majority of the time it's basically just work your hours, and if you need to work an extra 10-15 minutes extra, then do that, but they don't expect you to stay back until 8 o'clock every night doing work.
I can definitely add to that as well, and I 100% agree with what Ayla said. I think one thing that I found starting out in the grad program that was kind of a breath of fresh air, maybe coming out of more of an academic background, is you get to the weekend and you get your weekends to do whatever you want. You don't need to be studying, you don't need to be working on assignments. So I think anyone who's studious and does a lot of study on weekends, there's no expectation around that. You can have your personal time to yourself, which is great.
And I think to add to that, I think every stream's a little bit different depending on the work that you're doing. So I definitely say there's, you know, flexibility depending on where you are. I think, you know, we're all having to work from home now, most of us. There is still a lot of people out on site who need to be there as well. But I definitely say, you know, having worked at a number of different places, the flexibility is definitely there.
Yeah, I would say on the corporate side, we work a little bit differently because it's such a global environment. You know, it's not unusual to have calls with the US quite early in the morning, sometimes later calls if you're having one with folks over in Germany and Switzerland as well. But there is a lot of allowance in letting you manage your own schedule to be able to make that work. So, you know, if you've had to be up really early for a bunch of calls, you know, you might have a free afternoon here and there. So, you know, it might not be a typical work day, but you'll still be able to manage it. And I agree with Helen, I always have my weekends, which is a really nice change once you get out of uni.
Yeah, I'll jump in as well, sorry, and just say I agree with Kayla. There's a lot of flexibility, like if you need to go to a medical appointment and you can pop out and just come back, and yeah, that's totally fine. When I first started, I was one of those graduates who was thrown in the deep end as well, which was really great for me, but massive learnings, of course. So as part of that first project that I worked on, I was working with the quality group, the manufacturing group, our site in Kankakee in the US, and our plasma receipt group, like everybody along the whole supply chain throughout our business, to try and get our manufacturing process up and running when we had a bit of a shortage on plasma. So it was a really stressful time because everybody was trying to do things in a bit of a rush. We were trying as hard as we could to manufacture what we could when we didn't have a whole lot of raw materials that we needed. And it was just, hand to mouth. So that was a really stressful environment where I was trying to coordinate all of these groups together. So even in that really stressful environment, everyone was really happy to help me out and get along and make sure that at the end of the day, we got done what we needed to do and got product out the door. So I think it's reflected even in those stressful moments, which I think is really important.
Probably the first challenge which I've mentioned, and I'm sure all the grads can sort of agree with me here, was just sort of going from uni to a role. It's a really big transition. So at uni, you sort of know how to study. As long as you study, you can do well. Whereas in the workplace, it just works completely differently. So it was really figuring out how other people work, how to make connections with your colleagues. I think that was sort of the first challenge. And I'm sure a lot of other grads had really similar experiences. But probably the other thing is just the learning curve. It's such a complex business, and really getting your head around that can take a while, but everyone's so patient with you and there's really no expectation to get up to speed straight away. So it wasn't too much of a challenge.